Yes, Andrew. Thanks, guys, that you join us. Andrew, go ahead.
Perfect. Thank you very much. So good afternoon and good evening to all watching this webinar. I'm delighted to be here and talking with you tonight. I've been in and around the satellite communication space since 1998 and have enjoyed a 7-year affair with Africa. For our safety moment, during the presentation, there will be no planned fire drill. If you hear an alarm going off, please check your smoke detector, your car alarm, and any associated alarm clocks. But during this time of COVID, please stay safe and stay well. During the presentation, I'm going to discuss SATCOMs and how we can change the perspective from it being a cost to being an investment. Bold words, but without further delay, let's begin. Over the next 20 minutes or so, I'm going to cover 4 key topics. From non-productive time to more productive time. How can we make more productive time? Moving then on to doubling capacity and 8 times savings. How can we make savings by spending more on capacity? Thirdly, moving on to boosting satellite network efficiency by up to 40%. And then finally, some challenges E&P face in Africa. If there are any questions, I'd be delighted to answer them at the end of this presentation. Non-productive time is nothing new. It's been with us since the early days of exploration. It's also inextricably linked to Murphy's Law. A survey carried out in 2018 stated that the majority of issues relating to non-productive time were down to hole problems, drill string, and tool failures. These are hard to predict, but with the data available and with sensor technology constantly monitoring feeds, speeds, vibration, and temperature, profiles can be built around predictive maintenance and failure mode effect analysis. With data, we can move from time-based inspection to utility-based inspection, enhancing your predictive and condition-based maintenance programs. There are limits to this. Your top drive may be a significant NPT failure risk. However, you may not be able to have the space or the budget to carry fully redundant spares. However, back to Murphy's Law, it may well be the small stuff that trips you up, and there's significant amounts of prevention we can put into this. Looking more at the breakdown of the costs, the estimate at the time the report was completed was that NPT was costing the E&P industry in excess of $31 billion a year. Looking at the NPT for rig and looking at the related delays in waiting time, rig delays, and other, the column row in orange, we see about 1/3 of total non-productive time. This is far more addressable non-productive time and comes down to critical planning, scheduling, and consistency in delivery. Offshore is an island. You can't replace key items without significant logistics challenges. However, by effectively using the data collected, you can start to build up a more and more sophisticated model, which will remove the known variables and allow more concentrated effort in recovering from the unknown variables and associated created events. Moving on to doubling the capacity. Doubling your SATCOM capacity and making an 8 times saving. There's a 2-part problem. The first part is the siloed nature of budgets. If I'm in IT, I can shave a few points off my budget by reducing bandwidth, either by reducing the cost or the actual bandwidth. However, the impact of this in terms of safety and non-productive time can be significant. Siloed decision-making is dangerous decision-making. The second part is on the use of the data. More and more sensors are being deployed, and the hunger for big data is increasing. To make full use of this, you need to deliver the correct amount of bandwidth, regardless of the silo budget. Think around the business case for the well or operation in question. Increasing the reliance on data and less on people will speed the transition from roughneck to high-tech, but more on this later. Next comes the question of mountain and the man. Do you take the mountain to the man or the man to the mountain? We've heard talk during Oilcom of computing at the edge. However, the vast amount of plant and equipment still needs human operators. However, there are solutions that can reduce the need for on-site experts. An example of this is on augmented reality. I heard earlier this week of interest in the Holo AR technology. The speaker was interested in the technology, however, the $3,500 ticket price was too high. Silo thinking. Think of the cost of shipping an expert to the rig in terms of logistic cost and time. 12 minutes of non-productive time covers the cost of the headset. Think of the benefit of having remote hands sharing data with 5 or more beach-based or bedroom-based experts. We heard earlier examples during Oilcom from Oceaneering about using mass data transfer to reduce the number of people on the survey and the time it takes to do that survey. Think about the cost of the people. You have the training, the logistics, the messing, the PPE, and the off-shift rotation colleague. The cost saving associated with removing 3 to 5 people per asset is significant when all cost elements are factored. One stat published stated that the cost to mobilize one person offshore is in the region of $3,500 US. The case for clever use of bandwidth to stream critical data increases. Finally, by harnessing the data from multiple sensors, failure and fatigue patterns can be established to reduce, not remove, unplanned shutdowns. Data itself has no intrinsic value at source. Only when the data is delivered and consolidated with contextual relevance at the decision-making point does its value materialize. Looking at the current cost of satellite comms as a percentage of the overall operational cost of an offshore asset, if you halved the cost, would you even notice the saving? However, if you doubled it, not only would it remain an insignificant budget line entry, but the possibilities of bridging the remote gap would be enhanced significantly. Not all satellites are created equally. I'm not talking about the physical distance difference between the GEOs, the MEOs, and the LEO constellations. I'm talking about the raw horsepower of the satellite. When buying segment, you tend to buy it in megahertz. When selling bandwidth to the end customer, the end client is more used to megabits. The conversion between megahertz to megabits is affected by several factors. Ensuring you have a satellite with significant power and efficiency can produce up to 40% more megabits per megahertz. Inclined or end-of-life satellites may be cheap, but when compared to top-end new technology, the savings quickly disappear. With great power comes great efficiency and saving, with apologies to the original Spider-Man quote. The additional power of HTS technology allows you to use existing hardware and to save significant costs on not only the installation, but also the logistics of getting the equipment to the remote site. The ability to gain an additional few years out of existing assets, which may prove an additional financial burden to dispose of locally, is well received in times of depressed oil prices. Finally, the new HTS technology comes with significantly more available bandwidth. Pulling more bandwidth through your existing equipment for a reduced bandwidth cost and getting a higher service reliability from the digital technology creates a significant boost to the satellite network efficiency. So we've talked about more productive time and about double capacity to make ×8 savings. You've just heard me explaining how to boost your satellite network efficiency With great power comes great efficiency and savings. I'd like to finish this session with the challenges E&P organizations face in Africa. I said at the beginning, I've had a 7+ year affair with Africa. Whilst working for Rignet, I established a partnership relationship in Nigeria, opened a staging point in Cape Town, and set up an entity in Angola. I can honestly say that the people I met and worked with in these countries remain on my Christmas card list and have been to several of my family's special occasions. However, the great people in these and all other countries which form the continent which is Africa are not the issue. The issue is in the complex government and regulatory framework. Doing business within FCPA guidelines is possible, but is prohibitively slow and frustrating. However, it's the only sane way to do business. In many of the oil-rich countries, there are a set of rules. Unfortunately, these rules appear to be nested within each other. And from the outside, when you believe you've mastered them, you find that there is another layer of rules below the ones you've just mastered. To make matters more interesting, the instability in several of these oil-rich countries, political environments, means that the rules change frequently. So stay awake. Key is great local counsel. Local counsel who have a detailed understanding of all aspects from importation to local country content. Choose well and choose wisely. This takes us to the next challenge, the supply chain. The roads and infrastructure in African countries are challenging. This has a major effect on the supply chain. Getting equipment and personnel from one place to another is frequently a significant undertaking. This is complicated by importation rules of several countries. Without the correct pre-shipping procedure, documentation, stamps, approvals, and in many cases, good luck, equipment can be stuck in customs for extended periods of time. You can also guarantee that the parts that you don't really need sail through, and the parts that causing non-productive time will get stuck. Finally, several African countries suffer badly from rain fade. This is more of an issue for KU and KA band services, like SES's MEO. However, the storms tend to be localized, and with the power and modulation of modern satellites, the link may reduce but not drop out completely. Using C-band systems alleviates this problem significantly. One final issue is interference at certain frequencies. Again, in Africa, frequently caused by WiMAX. Filters and higher frequencies can help, but the next generation HDS technology with a full digital payload allows for interference suppression and removal with high reliability. So in summary, think more productive time, not silo budgets. Double your transport budget and bandwidth and unlock the associated benefits of bringing the data to the experts, not taking the experts to the data. Not all satellites are created equal. Mind your megabits per second. And Africa is a country rich in culture, history, and complex rules. Stay awake and stay aware. If you'd like any more information on delivering the elements discussed in this presentation, I or my colleagues in Amos Spacecom would be delighted to engage. Amos owns and operates 4 satellites in 3 different orbital positions, 65 degrees east, 4 degrees west, and 17 degrees east. All that's left is for me to say thank you for taking the time to listen, and I hope that you all stay well and stay safe, and that we can meet in person at next year's OilCom. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Andrew. I think this is the good time for questions. So if anyone has any questions, so please do it now. Andrew is here, is he willing to answer?
I think everybody's on mute here.
Yes.
I'm not sure if we need to allow.
As you're the host, I think you can open the mics.
Yeah, here we go. I think that's the mics now open.
You are still in mute, I believe, Andrew.
There we go.
Eric.
Hello. How's it going?
Hi, we can hear you now. Yes.
Yes. Question. So I guess on the new satellites, to make them last longer, have you done more of the any of the software defined, like software-defined radios, or some of the equipment so that you can upgrade it throughout the years?
So is the question there, Eric, the technology that's been deployed within the satellite, or is it the upgradability of the satellite when it's in orbit?
Upgradability of the satellite when it's in orbit.
Perfect. I'll hand that one over to Ido. Ido, if you'd like.
Again, can you repeat the question, please, Eric?
Yes, I was just wondering what kind of technology, what can you upgrade in space versus having, to make it so that you can continue to evolve as time goes by.
The satellite is the advanced satellite in the market, manufactured by B.Eng. It's a digital payload. So basically, you can use your existing equipment. You can uplink in C-band, downlink in KU, cross-connect between the bands. So it's the most technology satellite in the market currently.
So I think what Ido's saying there, Eric, is that the technology that's been put in there has been put with the future in mind. The fully digital payload, allows complete cross-connect between the C, the KU, and the KA band frequencies. So again, maximum flexibility, transmitting on C-band and receiving in KU, or vice versa. So again, in terms of flexibility, it's pretty incredible.
And how does the C-band frequency? I guess in the U.S. we're moving off C-band to give it to 5G. How does that affect you in Africa?
The great question. The question has been asked by a number of people. All of the countries are adopting 5G at a different pace and a different rate. The 5G frequency is part of the C-band frequency, and I think, again, Ido, correct me if I'm wrong here.
Yeah, you're correct.
Yeah, but again, the frequency band, it's only part of the C-band frequency band that's being, if you like, reallocated to 5G, is my understanding, Eric.
Yes, I've seen all the charts, and like in the U.S., it looks like Swiss cheese because there's several things but in Africa they may send a larger segment, or in Europe, but yeah, the U.S. is like Swiss cheese. There's little pieces here and there.
Yeah. Yeah. So Eric, I guess you've probably got a pretty good experience of Africa.
Yes, I lived there for almost 4 years in Nigeria.
Yeah.
And I did a stint for several months in Angola, but I've been going there since probably 1998, off and on.
Yeah.
But I've been sticking at home for the last few years.
Yeah. It's again, I was at Angola probably from about 2012 to about 2017, and in the 5 years I saw huge changes in the country. Just incredible changes.
That was amazing. Yeah, I just lived in Papua New Guinea for 5 years, from 12 to 17. But before, when I came back, I went back to Angola to do some offshore work on our satellites. We were looking at O3B and other things and upgrading the satellites offshore. And what I saw in 15 years just blew me away what the difference was.
Mm-hmm. And again, another change again when DeSanto came out of power. And again, another rewriting of the rule books, which again makes everything very, very complex.
Yeah, I'm very familiar with Intercom.
Yeah. Yeah. And I guess that's another part. When you talk about the frequencies in C-band, it's the licensing of satellite, and the costs of licensing satellite in the different countries can be pretty complicated and pretty costly.
Yes, yeah, we try to work with our partners to help that. Mm-hmm. So it almost looks very interesting because I'm not sure how long our contracts are for Angola and Nigeria right now, but I can always point them your way. We do all our contracts in country for each of those, so I know the right people to ask, and see if they're when they're looking in the future. Where would your downlink? Could you downlink in the U.S. or is it in Europe?
We can use several teleports in Europe, Middle East, and of course Africa. So we have our partners in several places, so that's not a problem.
Yeah, we typically do a meet me point in to get it to MPLS, but now that we're exploring more of the SD-WAN, we may be able to accept different types of connections instead.
Okay, yeah. we can take it offline, and I will explore with you more information.
No, that's great. Thank you, Eric.
Any more questions?
Yeah, Martin, have you got any questions?
Yeah, I put one out there. Do you offer any managed platforms on the satellite, or is it just raw capacity?
Yes, we offering managed services based on IDWEC, NewTek, Gilat. So we can offer managed services.
Any way of tying into these platforms for automation through APIs, or how does provisioning and support go?
Yes. Yes, you can.
Okay, thanks.
Great question, Martin. Yeah, from the discussions that, from the earlier sessions, I really enjoyed the Oceaneering chat, and just the energy that's coming out of these guys, and the passion they have for the industry, and for making it more efficient, and taking it to the next level. So, I mean, I think these guys are fascinating to watch. The kind of data side, the sensor side, again, their use of LEO, I thought was very interesting, in the kind of store and forward model, where you can pass 8 gig in 8 minutes, but then you can't do anything until the next bird comes around. So I thought it's interesting their use of technology, and their scanning of the environment to see what the most appropriate technology is for the industry, and I think that's great. That'll keep us all fresh. So the more people that are doing that, the better. But I think again, I think that's a point that you had made, Eric. This really, we shouldn't be thinking about bandwidth. We should be thinking about connectivity, and whether it's 5G, whether it's satellite, whether it's LTE, it doesn't really matter. And again, from the end user, you guys, it should be up to the system integrator to actually give you the best possible route for the information, to take it from the edge or to the edge, and then to the decision making.
Yeah, and one thing we've discovered too is it's great to load share. We had a lot of things where people used to think that the backup circuit didn't do anything, but now we're thinking, saying, hey, I'm paying for this, I want to use it. So we
absolutely
use various techniques to help make efficient use of all that expensive bandwidth.
Mm-hmm. Why not? Again, it's there, you're paying for it. Why not have it? And again, you can have it as kind of critical and non-critical systems, and then if something happens, you can rely on it because it's still there. But while you're not relying on it, you're using it efficiently.
And a great use for backup is for internet for the crew welfare.
I was just about to say the benefits of crew welfare, and keeping your team happy and sane is immense. Quite a bit of the non-productive time is caused by human error, and that's either human error because people's heads aren't in the game, or because they haven't had the kind of training potentially that they really need. So if you can keep the guys happy, then potentially you've reduced your non-productive time.
And they're real quick to tell us when the circuit's down, which is great. If you have a backup and you don't know what's up,
Yeah, you'll know that they're acting as your heartbeat, telling you the system's active. Yeah, good. Okay, guys. Well, if there are no other questions, thank you very much for taking the time out. If you'd like some further information, Eric will follow up, and we can discuss a little bit more in terms of Africa. But if there's anybody else, if there's anything else that anybody else wants to speak about, please reach out. The guys at Amos Spacecom are extremely friendly and extremely focused on the customer. So again, if you want something, ask, and I'm sure they can accommodate.
Thank you, Andrew.
Perfect, guys. Enjoy your evening, and I hope the Oilcom 2021 is a face-to-face. Thanks again.
That's all. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, Andrew. It was a great presentation.
Thanks again. Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.